guys, this is Red Silvers, and welcome back to Let's Play the Guardian Legend. We're gonna head straight to the corridor today. And this corridor 11 again is an optional area. However, there is a price for defeating it, and getting points is always useful towards getting a new health upgrade. Like Corridor 1 before it, Corridor 11 is another C-scrolling area, complete with the fish enemies that we've seen before and the manta rays. They do mix it up this time by adding in starfish enemies, but they're not really any more difficult than the enemies that we've already faced. It's very important to keep your chip count high for this level, because you're going to want chips for the boss fight. The boss fight in particular being one that you can't grind any chips on, so any health that you lose in the boss fight is gone. That's why I'm not using any sub-weapons for this stage. It's very important also not to let these fish gang up on you. Kind of like what happened to me a moment ago. Keep ourselves as close to topped off as we can through the starfish barrage. You don't have to deal with the seahorses in this stage, but you do get the manta rays. Luckily they're a little easier to kill with your gun. The main trick is that they'll be throwing fish in while you're dealing with them, so you're distracted by dodging the fish. This little barrage here is easily the worst part of the stage, but it's also a good opportunity to get some pickups before the fish barrage here. And as they vanish, you see the boss siren, and our boss is Green Optomon. I'm not at full health, but I'm in pretty good shape. The main thing with this boss fight is that you do not want to run into the tentacles the boss is dropping, because those are going to do a lot of damage. The bullets that the boss is shooting do much less by comparison. If you try to go into this fight too offensively, you're going to run into the tentacles. That's why I'm hugging the bottom of the screen. I mentioned that you can't get any chips, and so I'm going to be using the seeker weapon, but it's very important that I try and keep 100 chips for as long as I can, because my gun is doing most of the damage here. I'm actually going to switch and use the turbo mode. And I took a hit from a tentacle and did a ton of damage to myself. And this is why I want to keep my gun up for as long as I can. Ooh, this is going to be a hair tight. If you try and get too offensive, you will run into these tentacles very easily. Playing defensively and being aware of where the bullets are is very important at this boss fight. You can just make a slight movement to avoid a bubble. And just be aware that he doesn't drop a tentacle on you. The nice thing about the seeker weapon for this fight is that the two balls one will attract him and the other will stay near you until the first one vanishes, at which point the second one will totally get in and chase the boss down too. And now I'm down to my regular gun. This is going to make the boss a little harder to hit, but it also means that I'm no longer really reserving my chips. This is easily the worst part of the early game, because the Green Optomon boss is easily a hard boss to get down. As you can see, even knowing the strategy and coming into it, I've still gotten down to one hit from death. But if you're going to cut it close. And with that down, we transform back into our regular form, the corridor will explode, and for a reward we will get a new sub-weapon. The grenade. And I don't know why the game didn't want to give me that. It does exactly what you think it does. It throws a grenade. Not a very useful sub-weapon. Now you may remember that I saved a full heal on this screen. Now you see why. I wanted to have as much health as I could going into when I left that corridor so that I didn't get killed on the way out. Now I'm not shooting down this grenade weapon. It is very powerful, but it's tricky to use. And with that, we are completely finished with this area. And I actually did not know that that grenade would kill the Pineapple Man in one hit. So what the heck, I'll fool around with this a little bit for this episode. It's easily a hard weapon to aim, though. Luckily you can move after you throw it. Someone commented in the thread originally that their biggest issue with this game was that you were getting a million items and you didn't know what they did. So hopefully I'm doing my part to alleviate that. Got my big gun back. And now we're heading back into Area 0, the central area. We're going to make a pit stop before we save our game. And go back to the lander shop. It takes 2 grenades to break those blue blocks, apparently. And some sub-weapons do work differently in the airship form than they do in the normal form. And because I fooled around with sub-weapons, I'm actually out of chips. So that was kind of dumb. Let's get some from enemies really quick. Like so. Now you may be noticing that this is a sub-weapon that we already have. That's the side wave. However, when we pick that up, we now have the second version of the side wave, which I think does 1 chip more to fire, but it does do more damage. So that's our first upgraded sub-weapon. As we go through the game, we will be upgrading all the sub-weapons to 3 levels, each having their usefulness. Now this room, where all the chips are, has refilled because we just did a corridor. So we can easily get back to max. And we are set. So now the next goal is going to be to head into area number 2. And we're going to go ahead and head to the entrance there. And you actually could have head here at any time. As soon as you cleared Area 1 and got the key. Or, I'm sorry, cleared Corridor 1. You could have come here after getting the key. And they have a save point right in front of the area. So, as you can see on our map, there are 2 corridors in this area. It's also got a fairly decent size. And so we will be wanting to pick up some more sub-weapons before heading into corridors. But for now, we're going to go ahead and save our game, do our password, our terrible password. And with that, we are set. So until next time, this is Red Silvers. Have yourself a good night.